Hi everybody, welcome to Dandelion Cottage and Paper Crafting Saturday. I'm Leslie Watkins. I've got my garden portfolio to share with you today. I figured out how I wanted it to fold and come together, but I haven't done any kind of gluing or stitching yet because I want to do a little bit of heat embossing and decorating the cover. So that's what we're going to do today. So I'll show you that in just a second. I have some things here from my team meeting last night. So in the box I've got the prizes that people won for achievements and for the creative challenge. So we've got a 1/2-inch circle punch and the beautiful lighthouse point bundle. But what I wanted to show you in particular was the card that I made for the creative challenge. And what I used was the Stepping Stones stamp set, because I really like this quote on here that says, "Great works are performed not by strength, but by perseverance." So I like that very much. And of course, the gorgeous Dainty Delight stamps and dies. So in this case, let me get it out of the envelope so you can see it a little bit better. In this case, what I did was to use the designer series paper. So this is the DSP that you can get for free that coordinates with the Dainty Delights. And one of the sheets in the set has a series of ovals on it. Actually, I have it right here. Let me show you what I'm talking about. So here's the paper, and let's find that piece so I can show you. Here it is. Okay, so it looks like this, all right? And you've got these beautiful long borders, and then you've got 6 ovals. So what I did was I cut up the sheet, and here is the long piece. So of course I can cut this in half, and that is so pretty. And then I cut the ovals down so that they're all even. So I've got a bunch more that I could use for various projects. And what I did was I took one of them and mounted it onto my card base. And I'll show you that in just a second. Let me put these away before I start losing stuff. I used the deckled rectangle frames for the mat, and this color is called Pear Pizzazz. Then I have my cut oval, which is glued down onto that. And then what I'm getting at here is this set. So this is called Fabulous Frames, and it was the first time I had a chance to use it. And I was kind of excited about this die set because it has a lot of things on here that pertain to books and albums. And it's got this very nice little book plate die. It's got these corners so that, and they're doubled and quadrupled up so that you can cut out all 4 corners in one pass. And then it has these 3 different frames, and I used the oval frame because that fit nicely. And what happens is it cuts out the perimeter as well as the center. So I put it through the machine using the white cardstock first after I stamped my sentiment, and then I put it through again using the Pear Pizzazz, so I would get this perfectly fitted frame to my sentiment, and I love the way that came out. And then of course I also have, these are the corners, the photo corners that look like this. All right, I used the decorative one, so it's got a little bit of design embossed into it. And then finally, I have the viney kind of die from the Dainty Delight, which looks like this, which you've seen me use this a bunch of times because I really like that a lot. So I was very happy with the way this all came together. And of course I put a little stamp on the inside of the card as well, and on the envelope flap. And then I also add some embellishments. These are the new Milky Dots, I think they're called. Let me see. The adhesive-backed Milky Dots. So they come in 4 different colors and 2 different sizes, and there's a lot in the package. And I like those, the yellow and blue ones, to coordinate with the paper. So, so the reason I'm showing you this is because I'm intrigued by this die set, and I'm thinking that I may want to use this on my journal. So I'm going to keep this to hand just in case we have time to do that today. I'm going to try not to let this video get too long. I know it's Saturday, and so they tend to be a little bit longer, but I've got a lot to go over with you with the way the garden portfolio is coming along. So just to do a brief recap, on Watercolor Wednesday, I showed you how to paint, or how I painted, this piece of oversized watercolor paper. So the overall dimensions of the paper was 15 by 20, and it was the value study lesson. And I ended up with this really nice piece of paper that I thought would make a beautiful journal cover. So I just have this kind of clipped together. Nothing's glued, but there's going to be a flap that wraps around to keep everything inside nice and clean. And then on the inside, I have a couple of, well, I have it lined with this canvas, and that's going to get glued and stitched down. And then I have these 2 pockets on the bottom, and they are also lined with the cotton that's folded up in a flap. And that forms a little pocket over here on the end, so that if I wanted to tuck a pencil or a watercolor brush or whatever, I could do that. Once all of this is together, I can then take the quarter sheet of the watercolor paper that I like to use and create a couple of signatures that I will then stitch in to the binding, or to the, I should say, to the spine here. And what I did with the spine, so this is going to be just a little reinforcer for the spine, but what I did, which I really like, is I put a series of scores. I think you can see them, and these are about 1/8 of an inch apart. And what they do is they just create this really nice kind of rounded spine. And I did that both on the spine and on the spine of the flap. So it's got a nice feel to it. So that's how the journal's coming together. Today I'm going to add a little bit of heat embossing and maybe some gold ink to decorate the cover. So let me take this apart so we can get down to the basics here. Okay, so this is what my paper looks like so far. And I'm sorry, I don't think I can zoom you out any further. I think that's the end of the road here for the zoom. But here you see the front cover, the back cover, the flap, the two sections for the spines, and then at the bottom we have the pockets. Okay, and I just added some little flaps to form a little bit of a gusset because they have to accommodate the thickness of the canvas as well. So I'm going to need a little extra room in there. So there it is. And what I'm thinking is that I'd like to have some gold decorating this section along the top. And then I'd also like to have some pattern along the top of the pockets. And hold on while I get back my pieces here. I want to put some gold decoration on these reinforcement strips. So that's the plan. Now let me just check and make sure that we are recording and that you can see and hear what I'm doing. And yes, we're live. And good morning, Kelly. Danette, you're right. It's Monday, and I think I put Paper Crafting Saturday on the front of my video today. Thanks for the reminder. Okay, and then Ginger, good morning, and Linda is in the house today. Usually she's outside doing something busy. Okay, now I want to share one more thing with you, and that is I have a collection of stamp sets that are sort of my perennial favorites. These are stamp sets that I will always keep and continue to use because I find them extremely useful for my style of bookmaking and card making. So I love the imagery, and I love that they have a lot of different decorative elements that could be used for various purposes when making and decorating books, cards, pockets, flaps, you name it. And also the sentiments. Several of them have some sentiments that I like in particular. So today I have out the Positive Thoughts, and I think I'm going to be using this fern stamp. And the reason why I like this fern stamp, this is a maidenhair fern, and so the kind of lobes off the sides of the leaf veins are thicker, and I think that that's going to give me the texture of gold that I want to have running across the top of the cover. So that's why I have this one out. Plus you can see here this beautiful little decorative element, this gorgeous butterfly, the feather, the chrysanthemum, and the dies that came with this set are particularly nice because you've got this gorgeous kind of a decorated frame and this other decorative piece, and then of course the dies that correspond to the stamps. So this particular set is a retired set, but some of these others are still available, but they're not going to be available for long because they've already been around for a year or two. So for instance, the Very Versailles is still available, and this is a terrific set because it has this beautiful background script. It has this leaf, this beautiful cartouche, and again the decorative border, and one of my favorite sentiments, always thinking of you, in this gorgeous script. So another one of my all-time favorites. Ranunculus Romance, I believe, is still available, but not for long. And again, it's what I call a sort of a designer's set, because it has all these different pieces. So in the Ranunculus Romance, again, you've got a very ornate decorative border. You've got the postage cancellation stamp with the Eiffel Tower, and you've got these beautiful vintage style, almost like etching floral designs, a little label, which is adorable and looks really good with the glossy accents on it when you die cut that out. And then some very cute sentiments as well. And this also has a beautiful set of dies. And this leaf in particular is gorgeous when you cut that out. Another flourish, very helpful. The little die for that tiny label, a big floral, and then the other dies that correspond with the stamps, and then this little standalone die, which is really very pretty. Now we've got a new set, the Queen Bee, excuse me, and again you have all of these wonderful decorative elements, a fantastic border design, which I like very much, this really cool looking bee, which I showed you in the last video close up, some more background writing or text, and several little kind of dingbat ornaments that would be very pretty decorating the pages of a journal. And then on the inside, I have the dies that come with the bundle, and you can see there's a terrific assortment. There's 15 of them, and these flowers have all the petals and the centers in the that will emboss the die cut all in one go, and with this beautiful little leaf. So lots of really good stuff in this bundle. I have the decorative borders because I think we always need borders for the inside of journals, the corners of note cards. This is sort of a semi-oval shape, so this is really very useful. And then these beautiful little designs, and here's a little diamond kind of geometric border. And then finally, we've got these two great big stamps. These are background stamps, but I think that either one of them would look great on a journal cover. So this one in particular I thought would be really pretty gold embossed on the cover of a journal. I'm not going to be using it on this one today, but future reference. And then of course the pretty medallion. And I painted this with watercolors a while back. You can go find that video and see how that came out. It was very pretty. All right, so those are, I just wanted to give you a little background as to my thinking for decorating journals. So we're definitely going to be using this one today. And I'll take a quick, we may be using this. I really like that. That's a possibility, so we'll keep that one out. And I'll put these aside for the time being. And so what I'm thinking is this beautiful sort of trailing leafy vine going up and down the spine, and also on the reinforcement strip, and I'll do that on both sides, so I'll just kind of open that up. Right, so why don't we start with that and see how that comes out. I'm going to need a longer block. Let's see what I've got here. Here we go. Get that mounted up. Sticky. There we go. And I've got my Versamark ink, my embossing buddy, and I've got a tub with my gold embossing powder in here. let me get a, I need a piece of paper. Hang on. Okay. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm just going to give my strips a little bit of a rub with the powder. This is going to help make sure that the Versamark ink sticks where I want it to stick and that the powder will not stick where I don't want it to stick. And I did refill my Versamark pad not too long ago, so I'm not going to press too hard, just kind of gently. Start with this one, and I'm going to start in the center. So get that kind of eyeballed on there. Give that a good press. I really can't see where that is, so I'm hoping I've got this situated properly. There's my next one. Okay, now this material is a little bit lumpy and bumpy, so hopefully there will be enough ink on there to hold the gold where I want it to go. I'm running low on my gold embossing powder here. Okay, that looks pretty good. I'm just going to go over it one more time, make sure I didn't miss any places. On this side. All right, now I'm going to turn my noisy heat tool on for a minute or two. So I'm going to mute the sound so you don't have to hear that. Okay, so there's my beautiful leaf border, and I like that a lot. Now what I intend on doing with this is stitching. Once it's glued into place, I'm going to stitch it on either side with my gold metallic thread, and so that's all going to be very pretty. So I'm happy with that. I'm going to move to my next piece, and this is just going to be the same thing, only double. And if you do not have a heat tool or embossing supplies, this is a super time to get them, because SALE-a-bration is still going on for another, I think it's 9 or 10 days. And for every $50 that you spend, you'll be able to select a free gift. So for instance, that beautiful paper that I showed you earlier is available. There's also some new things. So there's a wonderful punch, the Essential Tag Punch. You can, for a $100 order, you can get the Forever Eden. Is it Forever Eden? I think it's called Forever Eden bundle. And that's one of my most favorite stamp sets and dies that I still use. So you might want to check that out, see if you like that. And just a whole bunch of other things. So this is one of the best times of all during the year to be able to save and get lots of goodies. So check that out. I will be posting the links down below in the description to the supplies that I used today, and also to my online store, so that you can take a look and see the SALE-a-bration promotion and see if there's something there that you might want to get. Alright, so I'm just trying to hold this bumpy paper down. And then 2 more on this end. Oh, you know what? I forgot to rub the embossing buddy on here. You all probably saw that I didn't do that, so hopefully the powder's not going to make too much of a mess. Okay. Let's see how that comes out. Let's see, what is, Danette says I didn't even notice that. What, that I didn't do the embossing buddy? Oh no, she said that a while ago. I'm not sure. I'm not sure what you're talking about, Danette, that you didn't even notice that. All right, let's see how this comes out. This is going to, there's not a lot of powder left over. I've been avoiding filling this back up again because I wanted to make sure I used all this older powder before I added new powder on top of it. So I'm right down to the bottom of the tub here. I may have to get my brush to brush off some of this extra, but that's okay. Actually, it's coming out pretty good, so I'm happy with that. Now there's a little section down here at the bottom that I missed, so I'm going to go ahead and add a couple more leaves. So I'm just going to do a partial stamp there. fill in that space. And one more go. This time I'm going to hold it the opposite way. Make sure I didn't miss any spots. And I'm going to give that a good tap. Get off the excess. Put this away. And I have a, sorry, did I bang that? Sorry if I wiggled you. So I have a stiff bristle brush here, and I'm just going to knock off a little bit of that powder in the places I don't want it. Give it a good thump. And one last look, maybe here. I don't mind a little bit of the powder because it's gold and it just adds that extra little sparkle, but I don't want any big blobs of it. All right, I think that looks pretty good. So I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to mute you again. Okay, I'm just going to inspect that. Oh, I missed a place. Get this one little spot here. there's always one little spot, so I like to look at the embossing very carefully, make sure everything looks shiny. I see another area, so give me another second. Okay, I think that job's done. So I'm very happy with the way that turned out. And I'm just thinking, you know, it'd be so pretty. You could do this heat embossing on a, say, a nice linen canvas, a heavy linen. And you could even embroider or stitch on some little beads, some beautiful little glass sparkly beads or gemstones or, you know, whatever, just stitch them right on there in the leaf design. It would be so pretty. So I may or may not do that. But now let's get to the cover because we're already going a little bit long now. And I'm going to get that moss stamp. So this is the one that I'm looking at. That mounted up. And the reason why I like this one, not only because of the texture of the design, because it has these nice thick areas that the gold will adhere to, but also because of the shape, because it's a kind of a triangular shape and it's going to help me to get into all of these spaces. So the first thing I'm going to do is give this a little bit of a rub. In fact, I'll go ahead and do the whole surface. So I'm just kind of pouncing that around. And this is just going to, it's going to remove any sticky areas that may have been formed from the oils from my hand or the watercolor. I'm going to give that a good all over. And Sandra says, what happens if you mix the old and new embossing powder? Well, I don't know this for sure, Sandra, but I have read, and I don't know if it's true, so you'll have to do your own research. But I've heard that the embossing powder can have an expiration date on it. So if that's true, and I have to tell you that my embossing powder is ancient, so I haven't found any problems with that. But I just figured to be safe than sorry, so I just want to use it up and then move on to the new batch. And you know, maybe, who knows, maybe there could be a slight difference in the color or the sheen, and it might be nice just to keep them separate from one another. Now, because of the size of this, I think I'm going to have to do this in stages. So I'm going to stamp, emboss, and then move on to the next area. So I'm going to start here. And let's see, I want to get a nice shape in here. I may have to do this in two different directions. So I'm just going to go along the edge. I'm going to come in this way. want this is kind of an abstract. Really, it's about the texture of the design that I'm after here. And this is going to be covered up, so I'm not concerned about that. So where's my cover? There's my cover. All right, let's see what this looks like. Oh, that's really pretty. Okay, I'm happy with that. Did I get in this area? I may have to go back and get a couple of places that I missed, but I really like this pattern of these ferns very much. So I'm gonna go ahead and use my heat tool, and then I'll come back and fill in any areas that I may have missed. Okay, so I don't have to worry about that because that's going to be filled in as well. So I am very, very happy with this design. In fact, it's even better than I thought it was going to be. All right, I'm going to mute you again. Okay, so I think you can see that beautiful shine coming along the edge there, and I'm very happy with that. I do want to get another stamp in here, and then I'm going to continue down along this side. Okay, and hopefully it looks like I'm going to have just enough powder to finish up this project. Definitely getting down to the bottom here. Okay, so far so good. Okay, and I will say, if you are a paper crafter and you do not have a heat tool and embossing powders, you are in for a treat, because I think you can see how much that adds to the project. It's just beautiful, and I love it. So so here it is. Okay, just a little bit along the top. I might do one little spot right there since it's on the cover to fill that in. There's the back. This is going to have that strip on it, so you're not going to see that. And all that remains now is the inside of the pocket flaps. Now I may decide to turn the fabric over to make a little edge on here. So I'm going to bring my design down a little bit further. And for this, what I was thinking was using the queen bee, but to be honest, I'm so happy with this beautiful leaf pattern that I think I'm going to use that again. and I have it right here, and it looks like I can get 2 of them on there. So I'm just going to go across and do that. And let's see, I want to get a little bit closer to seeing what I'm doing here. So let me fold it up this way. All right. So the fabric, I think, will turn down about 1/4 of an inch to 3/4 of an inch. So I'm just, I don't care about, this is going to be all covered up in the background there. So what I want to do is I just want to put a little eyeball the halfway mark so I can see where to get my design. There we go. And then on the other side, I think I'll have the leaves flowing in the opposite direction. So again, my halfway mark. There's Houdini complaining about something. Okay. Now, one more time with the powder and the heat tool, and I think we'll be finished with our heat embossing. I know this is repetitious, and for those of you who are hanging in here, thank you. I'm going to mute again. Good. Sorry, you guys. I thank you. Who said that? Jan. I'm sorry. Thank you for reminding me I was still muted. I was busy talking to you. But that's okay. You missed all the noise in the background, which I'm sure is going to continue a little bit. So I was just saying that I have Otello, the other rooster in here, who's going back and forth now with Houdini. And Otello came in because he wasn't looking so good. He was having some convulsions, which he used to do a long time ago, and they've kind of come back. So I thought he was in hospice, but he's made a miraculous recovery. All right, so I'm just going to grab some of this gold metallic ink. And this is just a soft, very soft toothbrush. And what I want to do is I just want to get a little bit of spatter on the center of the flowers. So I'm just going to kind of be very specific here. And this is subtle. So this is a sparkle that you're only going to see when you hold the journal or the portfolio in at certain angles. Oops. I got too much ink on there. Let's blot that. The nice thing about gold ink is that it doesn't matter if you get it all over the place. It always looks good. At least I think so. Get some over here. I'll just go along that section. And then I'm going to just turn it because I don't want it to look like it's all coming from one direction. Okay, I'm going to let this dry. If I can get the lid on, I'm making a big mess here. Alright, let me show you what that looks like. So I think you can see a little more sparkle going on, some splats. And the question is, do I want to add some to the flaps here? Give a little spritz. Okay, well that is the inking and the embossing complete. Next time, well actually off camera, what I'm going to do is I will glue down my my canvas, my linen, my cotton canvas, and I will stitch around the edges. And then I think the only thing that will remain will be to stitch in the signatures, and that's something that we can do together. So that's the heat embossing and the ink spatter for now. I hope that gave you some ideas. You can see I've got lots of gold on my hands, so I'm going to be very fancy today. Let me zoom you in a little bit. So there it is, the beginning of the journal cover. And I'm going to continue like this in probably 2 more installments. And then if you're interested, if anybody likes this idea and you'd like to have the project measurements and maybe even a kit, I'm not sure, but stay tuned and subscribe to Notes from Dandelion Cottage Design.com, because I will be announcing any of the kits, classes, and workshops that I have coming up through the through Notes, which comes to you in your email. So if you're interested, please sign up for that. Stay well, stay happy, stay creative, and I will see you next time.